Good practice controlling two other heads or bobbing heads at some point. But yeah, we're moving on.
That will literally never come up again. So don't worry about
that. You all must be tired. 2 regionals in a row. You two. Lille then Gdansk. Yeah, I heard there was a lot of flu going around after Gdansk. People really going down. Post-regional sickness. I usually get it, to be fair. I mean, like on the Mondays, I'm usually like out for the count.
I was okay, to be fair. I've been all right. It's the classic. I fist bump everyone. That's my tip.
Just don't
fist bump. Save yourself some lurgy.
I was going to say don't.
Compared to the what do other people usually do, Joe?
Handshake.
Oh no, I don't handshake.
Is that actually known to be like 80% less chance of being fluey after many people?
You contract germs way more from your palm than your the back, because just think naturally, like you're picking up like you're using the front bit of your hands so much more than the back bits of your hands. Like your mouth is never interacting with the back of your hand unless you're exactly.
I don't know.
You've really got to want it.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's my little tip.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's quite weird because I do. Sometimes I do depending on who it is. I give a hug if I haven't seen him for a while. So I'm probably all in the fluey business, but God, as a responsible adult, I take flu jabs and everything. So.
Yeah. Well, you get a free work.
I'm basically immune.
Very easy. Yeah.
I mean, I used to get the lurgy all the time for events, so that's why I moved to the fist bump.
Yeah, fair.
A strict fist bump.
And it's worked. You can't tell me it worked.
And it's really paying off.
Oh, shut up. There's no science behind that. Can't be.
Yes, there is. Oh my God.
It can't be.
Yes, there is.
All right.
Right, I'll find the science next time.
Could you post the link?
I'm not a doctor, but I think you'll be surprised at how many people would agree with me.
Yeah. Well,
in the science
we'll have to
world.
See.
How many? Yeah.
Well, I'd love to ask what's been going on for you two, but I mean, we all know 2 regionals in a row, and there's not much downtime in between that. But both of you came back on Sunday, or Joe, you were Monday, right?
No, I was Monday.
Yeah. Of course.
Evening, so spent a bit more time at the hotel, essentially.
Yeah. Was Gdansk?
Yeah, I would love to have been there and use that Sunday evening to kind of rest, but had to get back, which is probably.
Was Gdansk good for you both? I mean, the last time I went, it was brilliant. Food's great. You know, you got a little old town you can walk around and plenty of sights to see. But did any of you get to see the city itself, or just purely Pokemon?
Well, this time we were in, I'd call it like a little town effectively next door to Gdansk.
Oh, really?
In an area called Sopot.
Oh, okay.
I think you probably pronounce it differently, but it's basically on the coast. So we were in a hotel not too far from Gdansk. It's we still need to get a shuttle through in the normal hotels that we tend to stay in Gdansk anyway, but it's probably an extra 5-10 minutes on top compared to the usual time. But it was by the beach. There was a pier, a very old school sort of wooden pier.
Oh, nice.
But it was just generally actually quite a nice area. I didn't get to explore as much as I would have liked, but I did imagine how you usually go for a sort of hot pants rab, minus the hot pants for me. I went in normal shorts, but I did a run along the beach. Was actually pretty tranquil, I think I'd call it.
I saw the Instagram post. Looked very good. Very fitness influencer-esque. Very good. I can't remember if I worked the last time it was Gdansk. I can't remember if I commentated it, but I remember it was kind of there was the Christmas markets and all that lot the last time we went.
That would have been a couple of years ago, probably.
Was it? Oh my!
Because there wasn't Christmas markets last year, I don't think.
No,
I think they have been for the last 2. It kind of feels like
it was more similar to this time of year.
Us three were definitely.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Us 3 were definitely there, and we had some mulled wine. Freya was there as well. I can't remember. Maybe it was the year before.
Is
Maybe
that
it was last year.
you're thinking Stut? I think, aren't you?
Oh,
No, we had us
I don't know.
three and Mike for one event,
yeah, that's right.
but that was a couple of years ago actually.
yeah,
Thinking
yeah,
about
yeah.
that one.
Oh, I don't know. I forget. Oh, fair enough. All right.
Either way,
Well,
so we were a bit more isolated this time, but it was still
Yeah.
a good spot and a great hotel.
yeah. I remember you saying about the hotel. That's very good. I better introduce the actual pod, I guess, this time. Welcome everybody to the Spill the TCG podcast with myself, Benjamin Yard, Joe Bernard. No, did I say Benjamin Yard? Yeah, Ben.
Yes.
Ben
Certainly
Yard.
did.
Ben Yard, Joe Bernard.
It's
Ben has gone to
incredible
Ben
that you
Yard
can't
now.
even
No.
say your own
It's because
name.
Yard and Bernard sound they're kind of like a, Benjamin Yard, Joe
Right.
Bernard. Yeah.
You're,
and
you're,
and
yeah.
Alex Dow, sorry it's late, and Alex Dow, for another terrific energy
it's not
filled
that late.
podcast. So yeah, both of you went to Gdansk this weekend. One of you casted,
Mhm.
Alex Dow, and Joe, you had the pleasure of playing this event.
Yeah, my first day too.
First day to ever.
Second, come on.
It's the first day to ever for Joe, which is amazing. So I really congratulate you. But obviously two very, very different experiences of the tournament. One on the front line, one watching the action as it happens. I mean, before we get into the stats and the data, I just wanted to ask you both, what were your experiences like and what were the general vibes going into the tournament, considering that we had only another major tournament a week before. Alex, I'll start with you. Casting. What was it like?
Yeah. Really good fun, I think. I mean, we spoke about the kind of like, let's call it like international influence because we have back-to-back weekends. It's not something that happens really that often. We've kind of gone into this kind of routine of maybe one event a month. And this so happened to be one that sort of really condensed together, which meant, we had sort of a great amount of players coming from all over the world this time and really sort of making a big push for both events. So that kind of gave like a bit of a international flair for the tournament, which was quite nice to kind of follow along the whole time. We've already mentioned Gdansk a couple of years now, a few years now it feels like. So everyone kind of goes on to and knows what to expect for this kind of tournament. Generally, it's a good time because it often is one of the more cheaper regional tournaments that people can get to as well. Flights tend to be a little bit cheaper. I think this year might actually be a little bit different, but people still go in with that kind of mindset that they're going to have a good time because it's like generally a bit cheaper out there as well to actually go for dinner or have a bit of a nice time with their mates and things. But yeah, back at the Amber Expo, it's a decent venue. Had a really nice shot, picture with the other casters where we had the backdrop of all of the TCG players and tables, which is really cool. So I kind of pushed for that to go take that with them up there. It was just a good time. It was like a good friendly tournament, good friendly group of casters that I got to work with. Obviously got to work with Emily for the first time, which is obviously always a unique experience because you're working with someone who's completely fresh and new to the way we do things from a European production perspective, but then she's also bringing her expertise from the US side and how she generally kind of is able to cast and do things as well. So it was all in all like a really, really good fun tournament from my sort of working side, let's say.
Yeah, I managed to watch quite a lot of the stream this weekend, and it was great. I know we spoke about it before you guys flew off to Gdansk, but all three, the three of you, apart from Shay, obviously Shay casted Lille, but the three of you had day two Lille, and it really shone in the casting. All of you were absolutely on it with the plays and the decks and all of the different strategies that people had in their minds during games. And it couldn't fault it really. It was really, really, really good show.
Apart from that minor clef key moment, but we don't want to talk about that.
Forget about that. It happens.
Absolutely.
And you talk about representation, international representation. I mean, it was really good to have these two regionals in a row, so those international players can fly over and get two regionals back to back in 2 weeks and get to experience Europe. And we had people from so far and wide. We had Henry Brand come all the way from Australia and have a good showing as well. But we also had the Fernandez brothers as well. And then we had a lot more from America as well. So, and even places like Chile as well. I could go on and on listing all the different countries that were represented, but it was a really good showing. And I saw a good tweet. It was, the magic of Europe or something like that, or the magic of the Pokemon community. And in our top 8, our final top 8, we had a different country represented. There were 8 different countries representing the top 8, which was always nice to see. And, it just goes to show how strong the community is and how eager, how loyal players are to get to these major events. Joe, you were on the playing side of things. Did you get a chance to play some of these high flying players, or was it, how was your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I faced a couple of people from outside of Europe, which was fun. I mean, just coming off the back of like casting Lille, seeing the Dragapult final, I think the build up for the week was like people caring less about beating Absol Kang, and like the focus for Lille was definitely tech against that deck, and then the gears shifted towards like, oh, clearly Gardevoir is a good play because Dragapult's just won. Dragapult's so strong, there'll be people playing Dragapult. The dark decks will be back in force, including Zoroark, right? Maybe picking up in popularity. And then there's the question mark of Terrabox. So there was like a lot to adjust in just a week's time, I think. Just based on that top cut and how surprising it was in Lille. Where there was no Gardevoir in our top 8, right? Which is like a big pivot from the general stuff. But then it made the positioning of Gardevoir even more interesting.
Well,
for me, my deck choice was like pretty simple. And I think I said it on the pod as well, that I'm like very Iron Hands pilled at the moment, just saying like I want to have the opportunity to win best of 3s. I want to play a fast deck that asks the question of other archetypes, and I feel like my choice in Joltik Box really highlighted that. And I also think that like this is a format where Raging Bolt, its previous like worst matchup, is the lowest performing it's ever been. So there's actually an opportunity to play the deck. Now I found out sort of throughout playing the weekend that there are some other like more awkward matchups for it, or ones that I would prefer to. Well, basically there are just some matchups where you can high roll and have no way to come back. But I guess that's something par for the course with a deck like Joltik Box. It has a very linear strategy, and you really can't deviate from it too much outside of what you're attacking with and when. So yeah, I mean, I had a pretty breezy day one. Let me get Limitless Labs up so I can remember all of
your matchups specifically.
Matchups. I'm gonna have to go. Yes. I'm gonna be pretty quick through it. Don't worry. I'm not gonna milk it too much. I started off 5-1-1, beating a Guardi, tying a Guardi, beating 2 Enzoro, which is an incredibly good matchup. That was like really difficult to lose. I managed to beat a Dragadusk against another UK player who probably could have done a couple of things differently. We discussed the game afterwards, how he could have made life more difficult for me, but even if he'd played perfectly, I got Iono to 1 and hit an Arven to win the game. But he could have put me in a spot where I didn't have Mew and Fez draw, and it would have been like much squeakier, right?
Yeah.
But and then I managed to beat a Dango, and then my loss was a Dango as well, and then so I'd already won my winning in, and then instantly went to 5-2-1 against a Terrabox that played Volk EX, which is incredibly rough for me.
Yep.
Because obviously you rely on Pikachu in that matchup, and so much so that in game 1 I split my energy between Peak and Hands so that I could respond to a Hands getting gusted and KO'd. They led the turn with Bundle, and I brought in Pika, and then they knocked out for Brock Switch and showed me Volk and completely ruined my day. That still went to a game 3, but I ended up losing that one.
Did you say exactly that? You have ruined my day. Yes,
I literally just like recoiled. Like I haven't seen that for a while. Like
whiplash.
kind of just like vomited a little bit. And then like his friend was sat next to him, also with a Volk EX on the board. So I was like, I feel like I've gone back in time. What's happened?
Nice.
But so yeah, that was 5. So I was 5-1, then went 5-2-1. Then the first round of phase 2, at the end of the day, was another Dengo Rocks, and I lost instantly. So I knew going into the second day of competition, I couldn't cut, and day 2 was kind of a bit of a meme as well, where I lost to Arnie playing Dragadusk. He played really well in that he did the lone Dragapult thing, which there's definitely points in the game where I could win, and he took his hedges and said that off of his prize cards and with no Dracloak he can find the pieces just from a Lily and the amount of prizes he took all in one go to close the game. So he took his risk very well, knowing that he would lose instantly if I played Iono, which is in about like less than half of the Joltik. So he took a good calculated risk in one of the games because he led a Lati. He had to only put down one cloak, and he like Iono'd me. And if I just have boss, I KO his only cloak, and he instant loses and would be happy to scoop. So it was really cool seeing him take the calculated risks from turn 1 to give himself the highest chance to win, compared to most Dragadusks that would like still do their general game plan and say that like if you can dusk and push your way through the game anyway, you win. But I think Arnie recognised that's the highest win percentage that plays around both Morwile and Clefairy, which is pretty cool to see. I think there was one thing I could have done differently in that set, where I could have floated one energy onto a Mute EX to force an extra out from him on a turn. But I think ultimately he would have got there anyway. Then I beat a Grim, which is like just completely free again. So like Grim and Zoro, like you basically laugh through those matchups. So I got fairly fortunate to hit those 3, especially Zoro, right? It's not that popular. Yeah. But then I lost another Dengo Rocks, and I lost to an Alakazam in my final round when I was playing for not the bottom 50. But unfortunately hit a really terrible matchup. My losses into Dengo Rocks are really weird. I also looked at the data overall for like all of the tournaments in Mega Evo, and the matchup is basically 50%. So the fact that I went 1-3 against them feels quite bad. And I know like in one of those rounds I was against a trolley build. I won the flip, opted second. They turn 1 trolleyed game 1, then turn 1 trolleyed game 2. So like they were able to gust KO Iron Hands on turn 2, which is just like even Bravery Charmed hands. It's like, wow, that's 7 energy you found on turn 2. Like that's pretty good going. But then also against some other players, it happened intermittently in the other rounds as well. And I was like, wow, this is pretty rough, because when I tested it myself, it felt really tough to do that. So I feel like I was on the bad side of variance, where like basically every Dengo turn 1 was going Soul Rock, Lunatone, gimme, and Genesect, and it's like, wow, you are drawing a boatload of cards and I can't stop you now, sort of thing. So I feel like I got a little bit high rolled by some of the Dengos, but the more the day continued, the more I was like, yeah, maybe they can just do this enough times that this matchup is bad for me. So that was like a bit rough. But yeah, like I don't regret my choice too. I mean, I kind of regret my choice based on how terrible my day 2 went, and I just had like nothing I could do. But that's also like matchup variance. Like there were some high placing Dengos around that basically just had better matchups than me, I feel like. And yeah, I can't complain too much. The deck list was like all 4 ofs. Like looking back at the list, the only thing I would debate is like 1 copy of Iono. But it's the classic thing of like, how do you find this freaking thing when you actually want to?
I was just about to say, so you played no Iono, only on the basis that you...
Yeah, I just played 4 Crisp, 4 Boss, 4 Arven, and 4 Gear.
On the basis that you just can't find it when you need it. Yeah.
Well, you play 4 Gear, so like against certain matchups, especially against like Dengo, where it would be good, in Terror Box where it would be good, they're probably not hand disrupting you much anyway, and they're giving you Mew Draw, Fez Draw, Gear Draw. So you have like a 10 plus card dig in most spots to find it. And sometimes you can stack Gears in hand as well by like pre-Arvening for Gears if you're like playing well. So I feel like it's actually pretty reasonable. I think I played a cup once with an Iono in, and I found it like enough times in the aggro matchups to make things close. And I feel like that would have been like okay and could have won me some rounds. But otherwise, like the list was as no thrills as it could possibly be. No chaff. Like I even played second Mew just to play the game a bit more, and that felt like pretty good throughout the day. So one of my coolest games was against a Guardi where they played Garden, and I was able to put 2 Mew, Lati, and Lily down. So I went restart, Garden for 4, and like I just knew at that point I was never going to lose to Iono, right? It was like so gross.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a fun day, and I feel like my matchups were like okay overall, so I can't have too many complaints.
We can run through the data now. So let me just change the screen and switch over to the stats. So I'll whittle off phase 1 of Gdansk and the meta share. So Dragon Ball Dust Noir at 12%, Goldengo, Lunato and Solrock 11, Gardevoir 10, Marnie's Grimmsnarl at 8, Ceruledge 7, Charizard Pidgeot at 5. So what we expected is not a changed top 6 decks from Lille. They remain the same. However, their places do change slightly. However, it's a little bit more. There is a little bit more of an equal spread. There's the top deck isn't as dominant as it was back in Lille. You know, there's only a percentage difference between first, second, and then third as well. So it's a little bit more of an equal playing field. It just goes to show that maybe deck choice was a little bit of a conundrum going into this one. And it could have gone either way. You know, with such a short time in between regionals, it can either go wildly different and one deck can completely overtake the other in anticipation that Dragapult is going to be the best deck because it won, or it can stay the same, and decks can just kind of have this little bit of a equilibrium. But looking at this then, and just seeing that, you know, Goldengo going up in popularity, Gardevoir just teetering down into third place. Is this what we expected going into this tournament?
From my side, I mean, naturally, if a deck like Dragapult wins a tournament, or even is the 2 final decks in Lille, it's kind of no surprise that people do pick it up, but it got picked up to such a... I mean, there were basically 50 more players who brought it to Gdansk over Lille, and it shot up to the 12% to the top of the most played chart, effectively, right? I think that was a bit of a surprise. We usually think of a lot of our meta in the format, especially in the ones we're in now, as these kind of massive multiple Venn diagram rock, paper, scissors. I naturally thought, as kind of what Joe alluded to towards the start, that if Dragapult's kind of seeing this popularity again, Gardevoir it wasn't really sort of seen, and all of a sudden it comes from, quote unquote, from its perspective under the radar to kind of come up trumps again. But that being said, Gardevoir, Munkidori, you said it was 10%. I think Jellicent version was also maybe like 4 or 5% as well. So it's always going to be there regardless. But yeah, I think the kind of slow, the conversion is probably not the right word, but it probably is at the same time. But conversion of all of the percentages being quite close is probably the direction I kind of expected it to be. Like, I think in Lille, I think there was only one deck. I think Gardevoir was the only deck that was double digits, for example.
Yeah.
So it's just it's this is kind of more what I kind of expect a meta to be like, especially going forward, because the 6 decks that we saw from Lille are the same top 6 decks, or top most represented decks again, just in different orders because of how the meta shifts.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if we got to the next tournament in this meta, and then again there's a slight change in terms of just the order, but the top 6 will generally be the top 6 right now.
Yeah, the biggest slides were Charizard and Ceruledge.
Yes.
And I think Ceruledge will continue to slide. Charizard obviously slid down in play by like 80 or so, 70 or so people, because Dragon Dusk was just both finals, so that makes sense, right? So more people maybe banked on Grim to be okay into both a little bit. So I think actually that had this almost exactly the same number of players from the 2 events. And I like anecdotally just talking to people, more often than not, it was like, I'm changing text rather than changing decks. Like there was clearly a ton of people that were changing decks, but like I would say over 50%. And I know Alex wanted to get the actual stats of that. That would be like a really cool deep dive if someone has the time. Of like which players stuck and which twisted, you know. That would be something really interesting to look into.
And that was definitely a theme of the stream as well, right? A lot of the interviews were, why did you stick to this deck? Why did you stick to this archetype? Is it just because it's something you know, or is it because it has a great place in the meta? which was actually great to hear from players firsthand. As to why they stuck to an archetype. But yeah, I think the Ceruledge Goldingo debacle is interesting. I think as Goldingo just shows its power and shows that it does have great matchups into these big stage twos. I think those Ceruledge players will naturally teeter over into the Goldingo. So I think for the aggressive player, I thought Goldingo was much more of a attractive proposition in this tournament. But I think Ceruledge will still stay popular, but I think it'll just be an equal spread between the Goldingo and the Ceruledge. I don't think both archetypes will, massively go down in popularity. I think both of them will kind of share its peaks and troughs.
The best of the rest, the tiny undercurrent was that like some of the unclassifieds and crustals have started to fall by the wayside compared to the Terravox and Zorro, which made sense, right, after a really good Leal.
Yeah.
So that was the only other like undercurrent.
I'll smash over to the best of the rest now. So Gardevoir Jellicent 5%, Mega Absol, Mega Kangaskhan 4, Raging Bolt 4, Joltik Toolbox 4%, Enzarwak 4%, and Terra Toolbox at 3%. So a real equal spread between those decks. I mean, from the 7th all the way to the bottom place on this graph, it's only a percentage difference. Sorry, I was trying to do quick maths. 12th place.
8 to 12.
Yeah. 8th to 12th. 8th? No, 7th. Right?
8 to 12 for the same percentage. Or like, oh, okay, you're saying the
From
7 to 12 between two. Okay,
7 to
fine.
12.
I mean, I don't really count Guardy Jellicent. I would lump it with Guardy, but
Fine. Yeah, I mean, only a percentage different, and it's so interesting going into Limitless now and checking the statistics behind people's days and looking at the matchups they've had, because it is absolutely wild. It's not. I mean, back when I used to play more regularly, you used to see 3, maybe 4 matchups of the same archetype. Back when Mew VMAX was in format, you usually saw like 4 Arceus, 2 Mirrors, and whatever it was. But now you can play absolutely anything. It's a really varied format, and it does not make me jealous of players going to these tournaments for deck choices. That's for sure. And I could definitely see why you, Joe, took just the linear approach of Iron Hands. I'm just going to amp you very much all day and see what happens. I could definitely see why that's an attractive way to play. I
mean, the like level 2 thinking I had was like dark decks go up because Guardy was such an obviously good play, and that didn't really happen too much. But I did hit 3 dark decks, so that was like my only bit of level 2 thinking. Yeah. Outside of like, I'm gonna play aggro.
I think players have such an issue looking at a meta and going, right, I'm gonna confidently have this deck choice. I think it's all down to making it less complicated. What do I want to play? What do I feel is my best deck? And just kind of stick or twisting. But yeah, and then moving on to phase 2, before we get into the conversion rates. Goldingo, Lunatone, Solrock shooting up to 17%, most represented in phase 2. Then we have Dragapult, Dusknoir 12, Gardevoir 10, Marley's Gribsol 9, Terra Toolbox shooting itself up to 6%, and then Gardevoir Jellicent at 6%. So the first thing that comes to my mind is great days for both Goldingo and Terrabox, right? The rest of the decks, and maybe Gardevoir Jellicent as well, but for Goldingo, I mean, a fantastic day. A really, really good showing in phase 1 and shooting up to phase 2. Is it a case of maybe there is just a less text against this deck? Is it a case of, it is really hard to maybe get around the fact that they can put a 1 prize board down? Is that just it? Is it as simple as that?
I mean, Cornerstone kind of worked for Worlds and even worked when Abkang first burst onto the scene. So Dengo's respecting that in which way. I think more so it's just that we had a really good Leal blueprint from some high level players from Drew and from Louis, who played the same list as Stefan. So I just think there's really good shells, and it draws so many cards it's hard to mess up. And like the tech of like 1 Scrapper, 1 Picnic, 2 Turo covers like a lot of the field. It means you don't get scammed by a lot, and you can play around a lot just with very few cards. So I just think it's a really solid baseline and draws a heck ton of cards.
It just draws a lot of cards now. And I mean, I know I was kind of hating on the Lunatone Soul Rock before, but it does draw a hell of a lot of cards. That is the only thing going for it, of course. But against the
also,
the
I
ES people,
like.
but
I remember last week you were putting words in my mouth saying I didn't like Luna Rock. I just don't like Trolley.
yeah, no,
And that's
Can't
become more
believe
and
you
more
said
true
that,
the
Rab.
entire time.
did I? I can't remember.
Yeah,
You were arguing with Jack, going like, "Well, Joe's on my side." And just to be clear, I'm definitely not.
Both me and Jack were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he just hates Trolley in that list.
Well, I
Yes,
was
correct.
kind of pointing at the screen when Robin Schultz was on stream playing Energy Search Pro. It's kind of
Imagine
yeah,
the
it's-
Leonardo
I'm-
DiCaprio gif meme.
precisely.
I'm still, yes, I still think ESP is cracked.
I was once upon a time in Hollywood, Leo DiCaprio. There he is. There he is. Yeah, very good.
But do you guys think
go on.
that puts it to bed? I mean, we spoke about how Lunatone Soul Rock is like just feels like it works and falls in place so seamlessly for something like Ceruledge EX, right? Because it combos with the getting the energies and the discards and whatnot. But you know, it's fallen off this phase 2 meta. Is Golden Go the true partner of the Soul Rock Lunatone package? Just because you're drawing now, I don't know, something like 9 cards a turn,
Yeah,
rather than
I think
having to just use the free draw for energy
think drawing-
burst power.
yeah, drawing 3 makes Ceruledge relevant in the fact that it has an engine, but drawing more with coin bonus is better, obviously. So I think it just has increased consistency.
I mean,
it is massively consistent, and it can because it has that, like Joe said, it can play those 1-ofs and 2-ofs of those tech cards that covers such a large
That's
matchup
the
spread.
big thing, I think.
And
That's my key.
Ceruledge can't really do that. And if it can,
Yeah, it can play like 1 jamming tower, and then like how do you find it? And even the Briar, you can sometimes just not have it. Even the quad jet, you can sometimes have to bin too many. Like you can fall, like you just strip yourself up with the deck sometimes, and sometimes like Carmine is just awful. And yeah.
The Ceruledge deck didn't really change. It just had an added Lunatone Soul Rock package, changed its energies, and that was pretty much it, really. And maybe,
its same flaws are still
and
there.
fighting Gong, yeah, sure. But with Golden Go, it can afford to change a lot about the deck in order to play some tech cards, which covers a lot of matchups. So,
and also we'll come on to the cut later and find that there's probably decks that have a more well-rounded spread than Ceruledge and have a really good like target to Dango.
yeah.
So that's also relevant.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel a wave of Ceruledge to come back and combat the Dango that did really well this weekend. I think
I agree.
there'll be other choices.
Yeah. And then Terra Toolbox, I mean, Dad, we saw a lot of it on stream. It featured quite a lot. It featured quite a lot. I think it was every other matchup was a Terra box was involved. So you got to see firsthand why it was ripping up the competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
go on.
one of those decks, and it's got an incredible conversion, right? I know it's kind of low, quote unquote, in actual physical number, but that's because it was low in comparison to a lot of the others in terms of actual play as well. But the conversion's incredible. And I don't know if we do have the conversion rate sort of graphic as well.
32% conversion for Terra Box.
Yeah, and that's probably not even factoring like, I mean, it probably brings it down, but a lot of the Terra Toolbox were slightly maybe miscategorized as well. So they might play like a thin line package of the Eevee and its evolutions or something else, and it becomes like an almost other Terra Toolbox, and sometimes that's not captured. But regardless, I don't think it would go lower than like 24 to 25% if those were even included anyway, which is still incredible. Going first is great because, you know, every other deck wants to go second. you set up, you build your board, you tend to stick whichever terror attacker of choice in the active spot and go, this is going to start smacking away pretty soon. You're going to have to find a way to deal with it. And Jewel Seekers is kind of, again, I think me and Joe have spoken about our love for Jewel Seeker many a time, because it's an incredible engine. It's one of those things where, will it ever be good enough or popular enough to ever like make something like Watchtower suddenly come back into decks again?
Yeah,
I mean, we
It's in Zorro.
Well, yeah,
Is
well,
it,
exactly.
Is it 2 of in Zorro?
Well, I was going to say, because we had a friend of ours, Maze, who just faced up against Zorro, and we were just like, yeah, Watchtower is really good against Terror Box, and then just a sad face cry emoji or whatever it was. But yeah, the deck's, we know the deck's strong, we know the deck's powerful. We did see it on stream, like you take the first 2-4 really easily, and I think I mentioned this maybe a couple of weeks ago as well. It's about working out your final 2 prizes often is where it kind of gets people a lot sort of stuck in the mud, let's say, because it's really difficult unless you manage your resources correctly, because if you use Torrential Pump, your energy goes, right? If you somehow get it a second time, it's gone, and then your board's no energies, and you're probably Ionoed to 2 cards. It's those situations where you're then setting up your 5th and your 6th prizes where it really kind of, you're standing against the difference between a very, very good Terror Box player versus maybe someone who's just having to work it out on the fly sometimes. But, you know, when you get that opportunity, you're applying that much pressure, sometimes that's more than enough. And yeah, there you go. It's performed super well.
And realistically, I think only Grimsnarl decides to play Shaman as a tech.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make enough sense in any other deck, to be fair. And Watchtower's only in Zorro, so you're not... It's like the Mew VMAX Worlds effect, where it's never popular enough to be valuable to tech against, but you do just have a really tough time. And you also get the small marginal gain of all the stage 2 decks have probably cut at least 1 Iono because they're playing 4 Lilies as well. So you get the small marginal gain of your first Fan Rotom actually allows you to knock out on 2.
Yeah.
Whereas there was a point when Al was first out, it was a 4 Iono in a bunch of decks, and they would just instantly make you have it on turn 2 with a new hand. So you get the small benefit of the Lily effect as well.
Yeah, I really like Toolbox. It has so many features to it, so many different ways it can play. I mean, you alluded to Volcanion EX earlier, Joe, being involved.
If I could be bothered, I really should have played Terror Box this weekend. I feel like it was still really well played.
It just has.
But I just couldn't be bothered.
It has a lot.
And I tested it the first couple of days, and I was like, I just can't be bothered.
It is an admin nightmare. Definitely watching it being played. It's very PC, isn't it? But you know
I'm just too old. I feel like I could easily be 5-0, and then my brain's mush, and then my last 4 rounds I'd be misplaying and tilted, and more tilted and misplaying.
I don't know if you saw, but
it'd be really fuming.
I don't know if you saw, but I was testing for the first time Absol Box before the call, and I asked Joe to coach me. And
so a couple coach you, is it?
I've played linear decks way too long now to play the glowing card. I've played that.
You played Gardevoir at your last challenge.
I did play Gardevoir. That's right. But yeah, I was
1-1-1.
Yeah. But I think for these Terra toolboxes, like I said, it has so many different features to it, and you know it can really take advantage of these really powerful basic Pokemon easily. And you know it is PC and very very heavily dependent on your sequencing. But if you can play it to your best ability, you know you'll definitely be reaping the rewards as people did in Gdansk. We'll come on to the best of the rest though. So Mega Absol, Kangaskhan 6%, Joltik Toolbox 5, Charizard Pidgeot falling all the way down to 4%, Raging Bolt keeping its relevance at 4%, Eevee, Flareon, Noctowl Box, or however you like to call it, at 3%, and then Ceruledge taking a whopping hit all the way down to 3%. Nothing too surprising. A lot of decks that, I say three of the decks sharing the same graphic as the day one, but Charizard, Pidgeot, and Ceruledge falling down from Grace to to the best of the rest, and then Flareon Noctowl being introduced as a 3% as well. And we know how much of a good day two it had as well, especially as we got into the final stages of the tournament. But I think for me, Raging Bolt still staying there. It still has its followers. I don't necessarily know why, but it's still staying there, still flying a flag. But Mega Absol is the point of interest for me, only because I know you entered into Lille thinking, oh, it's a deck that'll come in its droves, and give people the time to test it, get used to the way it plays. But it's a great deck. I don't know. I think thinking about it, I don't know why it would massively fall down in popularity, other than maybe the uptick in Goldingo, which I know is a terrible matchup. But yeah, I mean, any surprises to you guys on the best of the rest?
Nothing too crazy. You probably hit the nail on the head that it's just, and again, we've mentioned it before, we mentioned it on a broadcast, it's a strong archetype. Is there a solid 60 that is like makes it like a solved deck? No, because it has so much, well, I'll call it space, to kind of like maneuver a number of cards into the deck. We saw the kind of more tanky, I call it Mega Kangaskhan deck on stream, which was able to tank far more damage than it probably should have at one stage. But it's a deck that is just a strong archetype where you're getting energy on board with Turbo Energize, and then you just start swinging away, and depending on what you're hitting into, it's a pretty cool meta deck, right? It probably at some stage, I think, and personally, I would expect to maybe take over Sarah Ledger's spot at some stage and join the top 6, or maybe come in and out, depending on how people's thinking of the meta going forward. I mean, and then at the same time, the rest of the best of the rest, there's a couple of decks that kind of fell out, right? And Zoroark fell off. It didn't have a great conversion. In fact, I think it was like only 8 that kind of made it out of the 60 something odd players from phase 1. And then when you look at those players that actually made it, 5 of the 8 were actually really top tier players, and considering 2 of them went pretty much all the way, or near enough all the way, it's no surprise that it's those type of players who got there. But yeah, again, Raging Bolt's a weird one. I know you mentioned it there, Ben. It keeps finding itself just kind of hanging on, but it's a deck that's similar to Ceruledge or some of the others. It just does what it does, right? And then it's on to your opponent to actually deal with the amount of pressure that it is. It sometimes does have, or has had points where it's had great matchups into things like some of the big stage 2s, where often the HP is too far ahead and you can't, and you can take those knockouts. And then you're going into maybe things like Mega Absol and Mega Kangaskhan. Maybe there are ways to overcome those sort of HP sort of limits as well. So again, in the right, with the right sort of matchups, you can take it pretty far with these sort of things. I don't actually know who finished best with a deck like that, but I'll check. 32.
They hit one Guardian target.
Got a tie, okay. I mean, if you had baby Raging Bolt, or sort of single prize of Raging Bolt, and just swinging away.
It's a great tie. It's a great tie, but that's always the thing that kills Bolt, right?
Yeah.
Guardian's still the best deck, and that's your worst matchup.
I'm keen to get your position on Mega Absol Joe as a player going into this tournament, because it must have been a deck that was on your mind at some point to maybe think about.
I mean, I would have loved to hit it, but yeah, I mean, at Lille the guns were out for it. It felt like it had just taken over the previous couple of tournaments, Bello and Milwaukee, so there was all sorts of stuff going on in lists. Like, I was seeing an unholy amount of Terra Hooper EX just shoved into stuff, you know. I feel like the only thing that's lingered into Gdansk was like things respect Cornerstone, I guess.
Yeah.
But the main Absol Kang techs are out, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's like broken now. I feel like it's like found its footing as a sub 10% play rate deck, and is just like reasonable, but you do have to concern yourself with Dengo, even with the Airy and stuff. I feel like it's a tough one.
Do we feel like it's going to be a deck that's always on the outskirts, and if you do play it, you're always going to be second guessing if your opponent is playing that one tech, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing, right? You kind of have to leave yourself vulnerable for the tech by the virtue of the deck. You need the 3 prizes to be in play, and oftentimes you sit with like 12 prize cards worth of Pokemon on your board. So like you kind of just have to let it happen.
And the techs that are being played are quite easy, right? I mean, for decks like Terrabox, or it is easy to shove in that Hooper EX, right? I mean, it's easier said than done, and the benefits are just there, ready for the taking.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think like even Emma took out. She played a Hooper in Lille, took it out for Gdansk. Like everyone did that shift and were like, okay, I'll take for something else this week instead. And I think that's how we'll lie. So it's like, it's probably a safe place to play the deck outside of the amount of Dengo that you're having to contend with.
Right, let's move over to conversion rates then.
No, let's go to the top cut. We've done conversion.
We've spoken about conversion. We can jump past that.
Okay.
Sorry, I probably brought it up when I was talking generally about
there were
sorry.
So there was once again a hard cut at 16, although 17 players had the asymmetrical record, which is unfortunate for Marcin this time around. Especially unfortunate because it's a very cool deck. It's the Greninja EX Pidgeot Dust Noir with the Grand Tree. So I think that would have been cool to exhibit on really high tables. I don't know if you got Marcin on at all on the stream. No. So that's a bit of a shame. Like we did in Lille, we showed a Greninja.
Yep.
I don't think it was Marcin from memory. So it's a shame we didn't get to feature that deck. But just something to bear in mind as you go through the rest of the ASIM.
Yeah, so we had a top 16, just like we had in Lille. That was whittled down to the top 8 after ASIM. But then we had, I'll just count in the decks now. So we had 4 Golden Go Lunatone, Solrock. We had 2 Marley's Grimmsnarl, 2 Flareon Box. Then we had 2 Zoroark. We had 1 Absol Box. Then 2 Charizard, 1 Linear Gardevoir, and then 1 Gardevoir Jellicent. And we had 1 Dragapult Dust Noir. So a pretty varied top cut. But the most popular decks in the room didn't necessarily have a great time, maybe apart from Golden Go. Only one Gardevoir, only 1 Dragapult Dust Noir, and the rest of them were, on the fringes. Yes, we did have Marnie's Grimmsnarl, but for the rest of them, they weren't decks that you would expect to make those final top cuts when you consider the kind of representation that they had. 1 Charizard Pidgeot, then 2 N Zoroark, as well. So yeah, a pretty surprising top cut. Just want to say as well, Mike. I did send Mike a little emoji of a goat when he did make his top cut.
Of course,
which
you
I
did.
know is appreciative of. But yeah, it's
also shout out. Can I just shout out Pascal, who missed round 1 and still made a symmetrical cut? That's pretty alpha.
Well, they missed it. Wow, it was like a deck list error. Or something.
Yeah, they missed round 1, which may have been deck list or may have been just late. But yeah, so even better.
Very good.
Only taken out by a Terrabox and a Flareon, which are admittedly quite poor matchups. What a nuts run.
Yeah, pretty crazy experience. But we spoke about it earlier. Such representation as well from across the world. A lot of different flags there flying.
Look at the names. Yeah. And some of the names are nuts.
The names. I mean, the names were, the top cut in Lille was intimidating enough. But they're just getting more and more kind of star-studded as the season goes on in Top Cut. But yeah, it's a very intimidating Top Cut. A lot of big names there as well. So yeah, I mean, looking at it from the spectator's point of view, it was very entertaining going into Top Cut. There was a lot of drama. There was a lot of different matchups to be shown as well, so it really you really got a good sense of what it must have been like there as a player. Always continuing to think about what your next threat's going to be. But these players were hot on it. There was such great gameplay going on, which was great to see. But I guess from your guys' point of view, how was Top Cut? Was it something that was expected? As the tournament went on, did we expect maybe some of these fringe decks to overtake the popular decks because of the text they played, or what was it?
I think there's. I mean, when you see the massive conversion of the Golden Goal deck in phase 2, it's no surprise that a lot of them kind of surged all the way up, and you kind of called it earlier when you said it was like really varied, right? I always have to. I kind of have to touch on the fact we didn't see any Gardevoir on stream.
Yes.
I think we saw Dragapult Duston maybe like once, which was maybe Henry Brand. I don't even know if we saw it beyond that, to be honest. And that was first round that we even showcased on stream.
No, I don't think we did. No, I think it was just the ones
they were like,
well.
Yeah, like super low in number in comparison. But maybe that's kind of really the showcase of what Gdansk really was in the end. I mean, yeah, as Joe said, it was definitely a shame of seeing Marcy, but at the same time, it was pretty hyped to kind of see actually a winning in action game with Mike in the final round, and actually him make it in comparison to what we unfortunately saw in Lille. But I was keeping a rough eye on that, of course, because I was casting that match. But yeah, I think it told a lot about just, again, re-emphasizing how wide this kind of meta is, and with a favorable run. Remember, you're playing up against, here was like 1,675 players or something like that. Other tournaments, 2,000 players. You're only playing against really 15 of them, 13, 14 of them. And then it's just a top cut. And if so happens you're on the right side of the bracket, which if we did have, I don't know if you have to bracket up, but if you looked at what Emma's bracket into top cut was, it was a lot of, I think she faced Nicolina in top 16 in the ASIM, top 16, which is Golden Go, and typically that's like a good matchup because of very easy burning charge knockout with Flareons. And then, top 4, she had her very good friend in Christian Fontenot. It's these kind of runs and kind of good examples exactly how sometimes a tournament could pan out. Whereas you had, I think, Cal Connor ended up having to face up against one of the Golden Goals, which you don't typically want to face up against. Vinny, I think, went down to Daniel Magda, who was also playing Golden Go in top 16. It's just how sometimes it all pans out, but a true representation of a wide meta.
I'm showing here Emma's run, because when I looked at Emma's matchups earlier, before we got on to record, she did not have an easy run into the finals. She played against some top competition. Even in phase 1, she faced up against Kato, Arta, John Eng, Drew Stevenson. These are big names this season and beyond.
They are all favoured matchups, though, right? The most impressive is round 10, beating Henry.
And yeah,
Dragadusk is such a poor matchup for Flareon. I feel like she faced only one Dragadusk, and that's the sack matchup for Flareon, especially her build, right, without the psychic stuff. So, like, she's basically taking the L to Dragadusk outside of playing, like, basically flawlessly.
Yeah.
And still high rolling from an INO late on. I have been put off Flareon, and it really shouldn't have been Flareon's tournament to make a finals, right? Because Dragadusk was the most popular deck in the room.
Yeah.
But Emma just had that run, right? And then the one she faced, she overcame. So, like, that's not to down her achievement, but like, that's some hell of a run.
I mean,
you were saying.
Yeah, it is a hell of a run.
I was going to say that in phase 1, that's probably true, that she probably should have faced maybe one Dragadusk, which she didn't, right? Phase 2, when 17% of the field, I think, if you
is now Dengo. Yeah.
And then that's where it like switches over, and then, well, I mean, she basically didn't drop a game to the final, or drop a round to the final, right? I think the Max Roberts was an ID, who was playing Gardevoir, and then you just kind of take on that, and then three of her top cut matches were Dengo Rocks.
Yeah.
That's just how she wrote. I mean, she already beaten Kato in Swiss. So.
Yeah. So she had faced Kato already in phase 1 as well, as I mentioned. So she'd actually.
Right, I've just realised that. Sorry, I've just realised that Thomas Ducrot, the other Flareon player, beat Henry Brown the round before with Flareon.
Yeah.
Is Henry incapable of winning this matchup?
Henry's calling you
I'm
out.
gonna call out. I'm calling out a world champ here. Perfection. I don't know about that.
That's so unfair.
I
He's not here to
hope he
defend
responds
himself.
in his next walk and talk, Joe.
I'm expecting a message off him.
Glasses
I'm
off.
expecting
Down the lens.
expecting a message off him though.
Here's the matchup. Let's have a look at.
Bring him on the
I'm looking at all his
bring him
matchups
on the
now.
pod,
I'm gonna-
special guest.
No, he lost to a Greninja as well.
I mean,
Greninja's losable.
well,
think
I
it's
guess it's the same kind of the whole concept of just being like, I'm just gonna get trounced by some Ogre plays, right? Because Emma and
Yeah.
Thomas played Emma's list, I think, if not very similar.
Thomas also had a good run in Lille. We definitely featured Thomas. If not in ASIM, probably like top 32. I think Ducra had at least a really good phase 1 last week, so definitely an experienced player on in their own right.
Yeah, some big names. Are there any lists that you guys want to go through?
Well, we should probably look at the winning list, I
Yeah,
reckon.
start with that one.
Yeah.
Might do.
Go with the little.
A small tweak from Drew Stevenson's list, right,
Mhm.
where he decided to cut the Energize but kept them all while for at least a little hint of respect of Cornerstone, but basically just brought the space back, which seems fine, right?
I do really like the petrol. It's a.
Oh.
It
Why?
I thought you.
I always hate this card whenever it's here.
It's an
I thought you were gonna
extra-
say you
it's
really
an
liked the
extra-
Morwell, and I was fist
I
bumping.
do like. I mean, I do
More-
like.
I feel like
Morwell.
Morwell.
I mean, I do like Morwell. I mean, we said on the previous pod, or maybe it was the one before, that Morwell should go into almost every deck that plays at least 2 metal. I think it's good. It's a good sweeper.
What have you guys been saying since I've been
What?
when I was away?
What do you mean? No.
But Joe,
Who's letting?
you know when Ben likes to kind of just go
There's
off on
nothing
one
wrong
by
with that.
himself.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong.
Every deck that plays 2 metal should play a Mega
I
Ball.
don't,
No,
I don't
no,
think
no, no,
that
no,
was
no,
didn't
no,
definitely
that's-
didn't come out my mouth.
That's not what I said.
And you all agreed, is what Ben said.
I said it should be considered. I didn't say you should play
I
it.
can't believe Jack Old approved.
I said it
He
should
was
be
he was
considered.
doing it under your name as well. So
I said Joe said.
I think. Right, I'm bored of this. Petrol has to be worse than Cypher, right? I feel like one Cypher has to be better than 5th Arven. Like 5th Arven that's exactly box, and if you price box, it's just.
I like petrol in Grimstar before the initial list in Grimstar, just as the one off to find the secret box. And this is
Can you like get a grip or something?
well, what would you play instead? Cyphermania.
4 Arvens,
Yeah,
He's
this
got
does
four
play
Arven.
4
Poke-
Arven.
1 Poker Gear,
One poker gear.
Cypher.
ace spec poker gear. I don't
What do you
hate
mean?
one
Grim
spec.
played Poker Gear.
Yeah, Grim plays one. Mike played one. We saw it come trumps in his matchup. Yeah.
Come on. Petrol in the bin.
Petrol in
Otherwise, I love the list.
Yeah, list is good. Looks comfy. Looks like something I'd play.
I would say petrol finds Artisan. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a great play.
Moving on, shall we?
Have that one. No, yeah, good list. All right, let's go on to somebody else's list then. Let's go to Emma's then. The Flareon box. A lot of things happening in this list as it naturally does with Jill Seeker and Pidgeot. A lot of one-offs. A lot of different options in this one for sure.
Yeah.
But opting to take out the psychic package, as you mentioned before, Joe, favouring the.
It's been like this for a while.
It has been.
Yeah.
It has been like it for a while. The reason I say it is only because we haven't. I don't think we've ever featured a Flareon box on the pod. But
They don't tend to do as well because it gets kind of checked by matchups like Dragapult Dustmart, which we have seen.
A tactical L to Dragadusk is so ballsy. Like that is a tough choice, you know.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, I mean, you're talking about a player who's been playing this for a long time. The combo with the Pidgeot EX is really cool, and we've seen it in lists before, right? It's a nice list, and especially like we were talking about how if you're a Terra Box player earlier, there's so many sort of different movements, and it's sometimes a bit more methodical, and you have to kind of slow down and think about it. She played it instantly in terms of a lot of her turns. If you watch back her matchup against Kato, for example, it's like, I'm grabbing this, I'm grabbing this, I'm grabbing this. I'll shuffle your go. I'll just go into it. I know is that the lines are always there, apart from when she prized both her EVs, which is a bit awkward then.
What do
no,
I?
I mean, it was incredible. It was incredible to watch the sequencing, because even in that matchup against Kato, I would definitely recommend watching. I don't know if it was the first or second match, where she had dual seekers and was putting cards on the top of a deck that you can't obviously get with dual seekers. Picking up Flareon, picking up Pidgeot EX, but just finding all of these different cards. So it would be dual seeker for Cyrano, Ray Candy, Cyrano for Pidgeot EX. So evolve into Pidgeot EX, then quick search for there was just so many things going on. But like you said, it's such and it looked like such a natural movement. And it just goes to show, we spoke about how dependent this is on sequencing this deck.
That turn two is pretty telepath. Quite every single game, right? It's you have to get your fan call off to get turn 1 and get your Pidgey down, and your Pidgeot is live from turn 2 onwards, and you're burning, charging. She's even prepping the energies already at the front as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that's being slammed on a second attacker or charging up its own Flareon EX already, ready to go into Carnelian. So it doesn't change in terms of like those first 2 turns.
The most important takeaway, I think, is the discipline of like you said, like Pidgeot is obvious, but also prepping like always the Fez as well, so that when Pidgeot goes, you at least have Fez plus Dual Seeker, because the deck is so high maintenance and it has to be the specific pieces all the time. That like you have to have an insane amount. Like you need double Hoot down and Pidgeot in play and Fez in play, but then when you do that, you can create the 6-card combo that wins you the game out of any board state. Like this takes away any interaction against certain decks. Thanks to Briar, thanks to Wellspring. Like you could, if you have the combo, you do the thing, and that's that's the good thing about Flareon, right?
It's a sort of deck where I'd be thinking about my board state and what cards I would be first taking in each matchup, rather than how I would approach taking the kind of game forward in terms of prize mapping or whatever it is. The sequencing it come first to me rather than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, you have a failsafe in Pidgeot EX, right? In the quick search. Terra Box typically doesn't have. So you can go for these pieces and generally be safe because you have, their incredible ability in the background. And then, even if it's not even used for anything in your opponent's mind, actually that powerful, often you see it again in any of them as matchups. It's often just like a Pidgeot for Buddy Poffin. We'll get another Hoot down. It's just prepping again, as Joe said, the next 4, 5, 6 card combo that she may need to take another 2 prizes or to jump over a particular hurdle. And
the advantage of playing such high deck search, you have the ability to play cards like Briar. Well, I know Briar went in the deck already, but just these small one-offs. The one INO, the one Black Spell Training, the one Gravity Mountain, the one Glass Trumpet. All of these cards, on paper for other decks would sound ridiculous to play, but because you do play such high deck search power in Dual Seeker and Quick Search, you can really start taking advantage of the 60 cards.
It really just feels like it's a no interaction. I can win the game if I have the search. Like you can have no Terra in play and still suddenly create a Flareon that gusts something from the bench and takes 3 prizes on it with Carnelian, thanks to Trumpet, E-Switch, Crystal, Stretcher, Briar. And like that's a combo that can happen from her hand. Especially in the aggressive matchups that won't disrupt. She can, like, part of the reason she goes Disciplined Fez so early is because every piece helps her along the way into the aggressive matchup, so that she's got a 12-card hand and can search the other 3 pieces that she hasn't drawn into naturally yet.
It was just incredible to see what you could achieve with just one Jewel Seeker, basically. Whenever it was on the show.
I mean, is it just one Jewel Seeker? I feel like it's not just one Jewel Seeker. I feel like you like.
Use
two early and then use two late.
It starts with the one Jewel Seeker and then it kind of trickles down. Is what I'm trying to say.
I feel like the first Jewel Seeker is the refund on Pidgeot, basically, right? Is it not?
Rare candy, Serrano.
Yeah.
That's like almost always your start.
But that's usually enough, right? Just grabbing your Flareon, grabbing your Pidgeot, and grabbing a piece. The sec one, is often used early for something like Sparkling Crystal or maybe something like Area Zero, so you can replenish the board with Hoots. But yeah, I mean it's a fun deck for the idea of like the first couple of turns, and then it's just like can I combo the rest of the pieces out for
can I just
last
see
couple
the
of
rest of the
prizes?
game out,
Play perfectly and dodge Dragger Dusk, and it's a great deck.
Oh, stop it!
Any other decks that you guys wanted to go through?
I mean, the others we probably seen before, like the Calcon of Vinny Fernandez, Zoroark lists are.
Cal did have the sneaky Absol in the list, right?
So the 1 Mega Absol EX.
Oh, and so did Vinny. Yeah.
I think they credited each other on the old X-verse in terms of the deck.
I really did like cool. I really did like those builds. I really like the machinations and the Hero's Cape. I thought that was really cool. His interview was really funny with Amy when he was saying that he played up against a Alakazam. Just machinations. Very funny. But
wait, who are you on about now?
I was on about the Fernandez. Gabriel, he had an interview after his game with Amy and was talking about the Zerosic inclusion. Yeah, very funny, very good. So do we not want to go through any more decks, or do you want to just quickly run through Brisbane, perhaps?
There's only one other deck which I think is actually kind of interesting. I don't know, Joe, if you've spotted this Stan Nielsen's list, which is like a turbo Terra box.
Yes, this is in just outside it's in top 32, right?
Yeah, top 32. Pretty cool deck. I mean, like, you're just turboing through and you're playing Crispins and Tilmas to power up your other attackers. And Energy Switch, sorry. It's just like something very... I haven't seen, like, I don't know, this is very like a Luke Kirkham kind of deck. I'm just going to call it. Like, let's just squawk, let's just get energy on the board and energy switch to whoever we're on attack with and start swinging away. Persimmion's got like is that its first limitless page? I don't even know. Coordinated throwing.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
But I think that was kind of cool. I think I saw it quite early when I was looking through, because I feel like Stan, I don't know how to say his name. Always plays something a little bit off piste. Whether it's a list or an actual deck, a whole deck itself, archetype. So yeah, just thought I'd say that's quite an interesting deck he played there.
Yeah, I definitely want to play this on ladder.
One judge instead of Ina.
I mean, you do it nice and early, right? And then you can swing with a cheaper attacker.
I guess you are only playing 5 draw supporters, so I guess the judges are
like. I imagine like. If Luke was to pick this deck up, it would instantly change Lily's determination and judge to 4-1 the other way, and then
the other way.
I mean, what? Oh, that's rude.
Whoa,
what I was going to say is that Lily's actually. What I was going to say is Lily's actually cracked for like a turn 1 wombo deck, right?
Yeah.
Because you get the value of the 8 cards, and then it's better than an Iona for you anyway, right? So it's like, this is actually crazy for a deck like this.
Yeah.
Well, it's
that like you have good reliability of hitting an E-switch to pump instantly, right? Very cool idea.
Right, let's move on.
Do we want to move on to Brisbane quickly then?
Yeah, let's touch on it very quickly. Very different meta in comparison. I don't know what you've got up. Are you looking at labs for it?
I can go through day 1, then day 2, and then I'll just quickly run it off. So
do it very quickly.
Gardevoir with the biggest share, 11%. Then we had Dragon Ball Dustmart at 11 as well. only a few decks in between both of them. Then we had Charizard Pidgeot at 9%, Grimstone Frostlass at 7, and then Ceruledge at 7 as well. Those were the top 5, and then going into day 2, we had Dragon Ball Dusknoir with 15%, Charizard Pidgeot with 12, Mega Absol Box with 12, Gardevoir Jellicent with 10%, and then Linear Gardevoir with 9. So quite a swap, quite a difference in the day 1 and day 2 meta. The highest conversion rate was Mega Absol Box, as you can imagine. So 33 went into day 1, and 14 made day 2 with a conversion rate of 42%, which is massive. Pretty good day for Mega Absol Box. And then Gardevoir Jellicent as well with a good day, with a 34% conversion, and then Dragapult Dusknoir with 26%. So those are the highest 3. We had then a top 9 asymmetrical. We had 3 Mega Absol Box. We had 3 Dragapult Dusknoir, 2 Charizard Pidgeot, and 1 Golden Go. So very, very different to what we had over at Gdansk. Ryuki Okada once again taking down the competition. Won the regional with Mega Absol Box. 2 Japanese players had made the final. Actually, in fact, 4 had made top cut.
The main thing from the metagame is that Dengo was only the 6th most popular, right? So that opens the door for the Absol Kang to be a great choice.
Yes. Yeah, it was the 6th most popular.
And that's how that's sort of how the heist came about for Absol Kang, I feel like.
It was a lot more. I mean, I spoke about earlier about having that kind of shared player count between Ceruledge and Gholdengo. It was a lot more equal in Brisbane than it was in Gdansk. I mean, the Ceruledge completely dropped off as it did in Gdansk as well. But like you said, a lot lower player count for Gholdengo in comparison, which is probably why it didn't do as well once we got into the top cut. But one at least made it, compared to the 4 over in Gdansk.
I'm mostly just saying, like, that's how Absol can be so populated in Brisbane and be far less so the case in in Gdansk.
I think it looks like Ryuki only played 1, and that was in top 4 against Jordan Palmer.
Yeah, against Jordan,
And
so then, it comes down to those kind of how impactful those kind of soft techs are, because now obviously Cornerstone comes out of the deck, and you're using Eri, Zero-Sick, Absol to try and like whittle away those key components out of your opponent's hand, right? And then if they then can't respond, and you're then doing all sorts of shenanigans, it sometimes makes it a little bit tougher, I guess. But to get to that stage is already fairly difficult, and he overcame it. It's not a surprise. Ryuki's a fantastic player. We've seen it multiple times now. Took down 2 TPCI tournaments over our shores, and now he's gone across to the Australian circuit and taken the tournament an invite there as well. So
one thing I wanted to mention, I don't think I've seen an Australian regional hit 600 players before, or have I just not been had a look at it? Because that's
I'm going to take your lead on it, SME.
Fact check.
Let's have a little look.
Say again.
Oceania. Go look now. It hit it, first time over 600. You're right.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen that many players in Australia.
Is that even for ICs? Yeah, even OCI. When was the
OCIC 528?
The old ICs used to have like 500, 400 players. So these are big numbers.
Look at that knowledge.
Big numbers.
Big,
I know.
Our SME. Look at
Pokemon is the subject, and I am the expert. As Joe says.
All right, we need to stop him talking, I think.
Yeah, very good.
And none of this matters.
Very good. None of it matters. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Go on.
Well, I guess we'll move on to our outro now. We've got a long time now until the next major.
We do.
Yeah, a long time to
for us anyway. Yeah.
Spend time with the family and relax. Boring. Any Pokemon happening for you guys though in the in between? Because I know there's League Cups and challenges going on as always in our merry old land.
I haven't signed up to anything yet, but
No?
it wouldn't surprise. It probably wouldn't surprise me or you guys that I might turn up to something if there happens to be something. No, at the moment I've just got fireworks. I guess this weekend coming up. And then forgot that I was going fireworks, and I was offered tickets to England Fiji for the rugby at Twickenham,
nice.
and then I've had to turn that down, so that's sad.
Is that the sevens or Union?
It's not sevens.
15s. Good old.
No,
15s.
sevens
Big
is in
boy
the
game.
summer, isn't it? Sevens in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
So that would have been fun to go to, but no, fireworks, and then if there happens to be like a tournament within drivable range, I'll try and get to something. But
I think I've got
we'll see.
Newport Brown Bear Cup on the 23rd, which I'm really looking forward
Brown
to.
Bear Gaming. Look at you chucking them in as a little sponsor shout, are we?
Actually, I just
Shout out to Brown Bear
I
Gaming,
don't know why
yeah.
it just reminded me, but in Gdansk as well, a good friend of mine, Glenn, who has been playing a lot of Pokemon recently, made his first.
Oh yeah, I met him. He had a great time.
Shout out to Glenn. So, good show by him.
I've got another card show coming up this weekend in Worcester, and then I have a challenge in Worcester on the Sunday. Not to brag, but I have achieved ace trainer status.
Oh, here we go.
So
there we go.
Just from your second day too. That's incredible.
I will be fiending for another challenge. So there we go.
Gasping for those 10 points.
Yeah.
Gasping.
Then Emily's in Vegas, and then end of this month I'm heading over to the US for Thanksgiving. So that'll be fun.
Oh, nice. Very good.
We have a jam-packed month between us.
Yeah.
Is that revealing all?
Nice.
Wait, how long you planning on being there? We need to start
over. So we're both missing Stuttgart.
What a shame.
And it's Tuesday to Sunday, I think.
Very nice.
Yeah. I'm just happy now that after Gdansk, Stuttgart, following Gdansk, I'm aiming to attend every regional from then on. So I'm pretty happy with that.
He's back.
I'm back. I know.
It's an easy launch with Birmingham into EYC.
Yeah, exactly.
For us, so that's a good.
Nelly's a year old, so she's booting you out of the house.
Well, she could feed herself now.
She can stand on her own 2 feet now physically.
She can feed herself. She
does on a low enough shelf, and she'll get.
She doesn't want my help. That's for sure. She's got to that stage at the moment where she's favouring Harriet over me, but she's slowly coming out of it. But before, and Harriet was like, "Are you sure you're all right with this?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
One thing.
I'll be in the other room.
One thing I have. One thing I did book today is some admin, and I booked Toronto for the first time.
Ooh.
Me and Emily are going to go there
Nice.
just before Birmingham, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Both playing because it's not too difficult to get there.
Yeah.
And I've never done Canada ever, like in or outside of Pokemon. So
Only
that'll be fun.
When is Toronto? Sorry, did you say?
It's the week before Birmingham, so it's the 17th of Jan.
More back-to-back coach.
I'm back to backing it again.
Nutcase.
Hoping to be more than an ace trainer, but we'll see. With my tournament results, I imagine I won't be getting the invite.
Third day 2 on the horizon? Come on.
Toronto.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you been to Toronto, either of you?
No, I've been to
My
Vancouver.
family live out there. So.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
So my family live out in Toronto, or like the greater Toronto area, I suppose. It's always been on my agenda. I don't know. Are tickets out? I don't even know anything about.
Tickets are not out yet, but we've already booked flights and hotels, so I really hope I can.
Yeah, I was like, "Ooh, you're a brave man." But Toronto's lovely. It's very cold, I guess, at that sort of time. Normally have been in sort of winter, and it's like knee deep in snow. But yeah, look. I probably should have used my family as an excuse to go to this regional at some stage. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll surprise you guys and I'll just pop up and be at the end of your bed.
That would be a twist.
Where is he doing it?
I think I don't want to put him on the spot, but Mike is also interested in going.
I
did see
Mike told me he's going.
Yeah, I saw an ex he was interested in going. That'd be good. Third regional row.
I think that's like a. I think he mentioned it being like a late birthday present or like trip that they were planning.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, we'll.
So there you go. Everyone's there. You've got to turn up.
You've got to. All right. Well, we'll end it there. Thanks everybody for listening once again. I hope that was great. But yeah, we'll be back next time with another pod. See you later, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.